Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever it is for wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Revan, and today you are joining me at the start of a new series for Prehistoric Kingdom. This is obviously going to replace the previous series of Ascension Park, which wasn't really a series, more of just a couple of videos I did in the game, seeing if whether I liked it or not, which I've come to the conclusion that I do like it. So hello, welcome to a new series. This series is going to be called Highland Paleo Reserve, and if you probably couldn't have guessed, this is going to be set in the Highlands of Scotland, up near thinking along Cairngorms National Park, which isn't too far from Balmoral or the Highland Wildlife Park. This is a park that isn't going to be too big at all. It's going to be a fairly reasonable sized, mainly focusing on the animals of the Cenozoic-period. So we're going to be having the animals such as the Titana boa, which obviously came in the latest update 16. We're going to be having things like Paraceratherium. I can't remember if I'm pronouncing that right, but you'll know which one I mean. Megaloceros, stuff like that. You know, your typical Ice Age animals, which is also kind of why I've set this park where it is, because obviously in the Scottish Highlands it is going to be quite a bit colder than what it's going to be, say, in Devon, California, or anything like that. This is the first build of the series, and this is going to be primarily focusing on the entrance building for the park, which the inspiration for this came from the Edmonton Valley Zoo over in Alberta, Canada, because I really liked the idea of how they have their entrance gate, where you have these big old metal gates which are built into this like archway. They rotate when the zoo's open or closed, meaning unwanted guests can't get in, and also more importantly, the animals can't get out. So this isn't a one-to-one recreation of it. It's heavily inspired by, but not a direct one-to-one recreation. Yeah, so as I say, it's been a long time coming to putting a video up on this channel, which I do apologise for, and it seems like I make this apology every single time because my upload schedule is, shall we say, shocking to say the least, when I can words properly. And you just see me dropping a quick save. And I had a little bit of issue with getting things to line up right, so just getting that sorted, and there we go. So a lot of this build, like the car park and everything like that, I'd already built for the zoo. Didn't really feel that needed to be a build on its own, because at the end of that's a lot of figuring out, a lot of working out spacing and stuff like that, whereas this is just, like, as I said, it's just straight up building, which shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just getting a let's say, it's just making it look, believable. I want this to be a somewhat detailed park, keeping it believable in terms of scale and stuff like that. I probably got the scale a bit off on the entrance building, but that's not too much of it. I'm not too worried about that, because obviously you want it to draw attention and stuff. This was a tough bit, putting in the windows, getting all that lined up, but once I got it all lined up, everything else just fell into place quite happily. So this is the entrance. Like I said, will be the entrance building. This is the front gate, as you can see here. The part to the right there, I was originally intending on having as the I believe that was going to be I think it was going to be the gift shop, but then ended up ripping it out, and then this is actually now going to be ends up being the ticket booth, and the gift shop is a bit further over. I went with the Stone Age walls because, as I say, it's Cenozoic-period. I just figured it looked, they looked better suited for the time period. It also just gives it a little bit of theming, which keeps the interest for not so maybe necessarily so much the adults, but definitely kids. Keeps it the intrigue there for them. Just moving everything back a bit because I had misplaced stuff, and just getting those walls laid in. And there you can see the car park that I built previously, and we've got the colours of the park along those flags there. This here will be the ticket office, just here I believe. Yeah, this is going to be the ticket office, putting in like little grills for like where the speakers would be, so you can talk through the glass and everything. Just seeing if I could make it fatter, which didn't work out. I don't know why I didn't try doing the scaling tool, but it is what it is. And in the end, I think this room here, just what there, ends up being like a storeroom or something, but it is what it is. And then here we have the actual like park entrance built like blocks here, so guests can go in, buy their tickets, have a mill around a little bit, and then go from there. Put a couple of toilet blocks in a second. Just make it after that courtyard there, which I do believe I do put I put a statue in of some kind. I'm just copying the name of the zoo park across there. See there. So happy with the fact we've got far more options in terms of fonts and scalability than Planet Zoo. Like in some regards, this game does blow Planet Zoo out of the park. Don't get me wrong, I do love Planet Zoo, but there are certain things in there that I would change if I could quite happily. Just getting that solitaire set up appropriately. And this is, I believe, where I decide to rip what was going to be the gift shop out and make the ticket booths just that little bit longer, and making it, just giving that courtyard a bit more space, so making it less cramped. So it's all about trial and error. That's what it is. It's all trial and error. And then this bit here ends up being the gift shop in just a second. In terms of theming for the park, I'm intending on keeping it like rustic, stone agey kind of themed. So it's going to be a lot of wood, a lot of stone, not so much brick, but maybe for the pathing potentially, and then I can keep it going from that direction. That direction, is that the right way of saying it? It is now. Figured 5 ticket booths would be the most appropriate in terms of size, and in a second we will be building a cattle grid to keep the guests in. And this is where it's going to have a brief cut, I believe, because as I say, a message will come up in a second on the screen. I know it's a little bit later on than that. I'm just building that cattle grid now to keep the guests in line, and I settled on this fence here as I felt it fitted the theme more than some of the other fences, to say the least. So just getting it all like lined up with each other so it's all uniform. And now it's just a case of just putting in the grid. Get rid of those bits as they were unnecessary, and then just adding a little bit extra there, and then just popping in the actual entrances to the grid, and there you go, there's a cattle grid, nice and easy. Figured it looked a bit nice with having the wood logs there rather than just having it all stone. Just breaks it up a little bit, also makes it stand out. And then this here is going to be a now was it this I believe ended up being like a restaurant, so I have a restaurant right by the entrance, because being in like up by Balmoral, that part of the world, it is going to be quite a trek from anywhere major, so I would imagine guests would be hungry and wanting something to eat when they got there. This is the centerpiece statue I was saying about, and just adding a couple mammoth, a trio of mammoth statues in here, just make it look as if they are like migrating somewhere as a herd. Just pop some plants in here, and yeah, it was like just thought that looked alright, then just like nah, not really too happy with that, and then used some of the in-game pieces just to make it a bit more realistic and keep it somewhat appropriate for the area. Obviously in the game there isn't a map for the Scottish Highlands, so we are actually using the Canadian Boreal map, as it's basically a similar biome to the actual Highlands. And this is where I forgot to stepped away from the computer, forgot to hit record, and this is filming from another day, but this is actually as you can see here, building the inside of the restaurant now, just laying out a couple of kiosks there, got the restaurant in, keeping the seating all gridded just makes it easier to map out, and yeah, just making it all equally spaced and laid out well. Just take the lights from the gift shop. This obviously the gift shop's all been missed unfortunately, but we do have a bit of a tour later on in the video. Just putting some doors in there to stop guests from going in behind the scenes of it. I wanted the park to be detailed, but I'm still not entirely sure on how to build a kitchen. I'll have a look on maybe the workshop or something like that, see if I can find some kitchen pieces to go in there at a later date. Just get the roof tiles laid in so that we can have some actual light in there, because the let's be honest, the windows where they are, you're not going to get the most amount of natural light coming in anyway. Just lower those a bit so that they're all flush with the rest of the ceiling, and then it's just filling in the rest of the ceilings, putting the just giving it a bit more height and putting roofs on and stuff. Again, I'm going to be keeping within theme, using the Stone Age pieces, and I think I settle on the thatch roofs for here, because as I say, I just felt it aligned more with the actual theme of the park. You can see this is actually going to be next to our staff area, which again I built off camera because staff facilities, I've just thrown stuff in as and where I feel they'd be most appropriate. There's no real plan for where it is, so I've got a medium nursery and large nursery and everything laid in there, but as you don't really need to worry about that too necessarily. And there we go, settling on the thatch roof there, and just getting all those roofs put in. Just getting the tickets lined up. Thought about putting some windows in above here, and decided against it because obviously just because of the texture, it just on the walls it wouldn't work. A couple of computers that I got off of the workshop, and obviously office chairs. As honestly, the workshop is coming like super clutch for this. So it's made life so much easier, and it's end up being a massive help. Just put another extra couple computers there. Could probably put some more in, just having a look around, see what there is, and then it's just on to putting some trees and stuff in these planters here, and then this will be where you can head on into the park. Just lay some bins out, because obviously you don't want people littering too much. Now, originally was going to plant the trees one by one, and plant the trees, plants, whatnot, one by one, and very, very promptly lost patience with it, and in the end we go with the terrain brush, obviously keeping the respect to buildings setting on. Just lay out a couple of extra tiles just to ensure no trees and that do go up there. It didn't work, so in the end we it turned the ignore structures button on, and we get the trees that we're after. Obviously needing some rearranging here, probably not the most realistic way of planting, but it worked for me, and at the end of the day it's not really hurting anyone. It's just some trees to like make the entrance area a bit more green, a bit more pleasant to look at, as opposed to all this stone and everything like that. So just thought it gave it a bit more look, a bit more lush. Not too sure what the next build for this park is going to be. I thought about making like a house for the Titanic boa and the I can't remember the armadillo thing, which came in the Peltophilas, I believe it was. Just go with that. But yeah, go with that. Might make a house of that. I've got an idea for how that could go, not too sure, but also it could all potentially lead into something a bit not as major, or a bit more something which give it more a draw. But here we are. Here's the tour going into the zoo. Thank you very much for watching. If you've watched it this far, thank you for putting up with my rambly commentary, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll leave you with the soundtrack. Have a good rest of your day. Oh, and before I forget, please I'm going to do the YouTube thing. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm not the most prolific with uploading, so you hit that bell. It'll probably notify you when I do eventually upload a video, because as I say, my upload schedule is pretty sporadic. Okay, ta-ta for now. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.